What if I told you the strongest person in any room isn't the smartest, or the toughest, or even the most skilled? It's the one who knows for sure they've already won, even when everything looks bad. This isn't just being confident, it's a powerful kind of certainty. And when you're playing the game of power, this certainty is like a superpower. It's what builds great things from nothing, breaks every rule, ignores failures, and creates its own future. It doesn't just see how things are, it makes things the way it wants them to be. Machiavelli didn't call it crazy, he called it needed. Because when everyone else doubts you, when common sense says you're finished, only this strong belief dares to say, I'm just getting started. The crazy ones who come out on top. The world has never belonged to those who are always sensible. It rewards the ones who act a little wild, the obsessed, the ones who believe in their own greatness before anyone else has a reason to. The crazy ones, the outsiders, the fools, until they win. Then, suddenly, everyone calls them great. Machiavelli knew this hard truth better than most. In his book, The Prince, he didn't praise careful thinking or playing it safe. He praised results. And results, more often than not, come not from logic but from this deep, unshakable belief. Think about it. What's the only difference between someone called mad and someone called a legend? It's success. History is full of forgotten realists. People who waited for the perfect moment, who played it safe, who stayed humble. But it forever remembers the wild leaders who walked into danger with nothing but fierce belief. Alexander the Great truly believed he was the son of a god, not just in a story, but for real. He wasn't just happy being a king, he believed he was special, and because he believed it, others believed it too. His soldiers fought like they were led by a god, his enemies shook like they faced one, and when you believe you're that special, backing down feels wrong. You have to win, because anything less would go against everything you believe about yourself. Napoleon put a crown on his own head. He didn't do it in the name of his country or for God. He did it himself. That wasn't just being proud, it was a mind game. It sent a clear message. I don't need anyone to tell me I can rule. I am the ruler. Muhammad stood alone in his city with a message that would have gotten most people killed, yet he spoke it loudly, again and again, even when angry tribes wanted to stop him. Not because he had an army, but because he had belief. And slowly, that belief built a huge empire. These men didn't win because they had better tools or more money. They won because their belief in themselves was louder than all the world's doubts. They refused to see reality the way others did. And here lies the truth Machiavelli hinted at. In the power game, the person with this super belief often beats the one who only thinks logically. Why? Because people don't follow logic. They don't even follow facts. They follow certainty. Certainty is like a magnet. It pulls people in, overriding their senses. When someone speaks with total conviction, even if they're wrong, most people fall in line. Not because the person with the super belief is right, but because no one wants to challenge a fire that burns so brightly. Look around you. You'll see it everywhere. The most powerful business owners didn't wait until their plan was perfect. The most inspiring leaders didn't beg for acceptance. The most feared competitors didn't care if the chances were fair. They acted with the intensity of someone who had already won. That's the secret. This strong belief creates unstoppable momentum. It makes other people stop asking questions and start adjusting to you. It makes the world around you bend to your will simply because you act like it already belongs to you. Most people think they need others to say they're powerful to feel powerful. The super believer doesn't wait. He declares power, he becomes power. And here's the kicker. The moment he truly believes it, others start believing it too. Machiavelli would have called this risky, but necessary. A leader must be willing to create false appearances, to shape what people think, to walk the line between what's real and what he wants to be real. But the most powerful trick of all is the one you play on yourself. You can lie to others. That's useful. But when you believe your own story, when your heart burns with a purpose no one else can see, that's when you become unstoppable. You become immune to failure because you've already decided it doesn't exist. You become dangerous because nothing scares people more than someone who can't be shaken. And you become unstoppable because you move like destiny itself is pulling you forward. So go ahead and laugh at the crazy person, mock the one who talks like they've already won. But when everything settles, when the scared ones have given up, when the logical ones have hesitated, he's still standing. Why? Because he didn't wait for proof. He became the proof. And in a world that rewards brave moves backed by strong belief, that's the person who wins. Your enemy expects you to pause. He expects fear in your eyes, doubt in your voice, uncertainty in your next move. That's how most people live, carefully, politely, asking for permission to act like they matter. But then you walk in, eyes calm and steady, body unshaken, speaking your big goals like they are already laws. Everything changes because you carry something far more dangerous than a sword. You carry this powerful self-belief. And in the hands of someone who knows how to use it, it becomes a weapon of war. Machiavelli never used the word crazy belief, but he knew its strength. He talked about appearances, about what people see, about making up the image of greatness, even when it wasn't there yet. Why? Because people don't react to the plain truth. They react to how the truth is shown. When you act with this super self-belief, you don't just change how people see you, you change how they see themselves compared to you. They feel smaller, weaker, less sure. They question their own reality while you rewrite yours. Let's be clear, this isn't just confidence. Confidence still needs good feedback. This powerful belief doesn't need applause or permission. It powers itself. And when you believe in yourself beyond what makes common sense, you commit to moves others wouldn't dare try. That's what makes it a weapon. It makes you bolder, reach further, and take bigger risks. Your opponent plans for what a normal person would do, but you're not normal anymore. You're driven by something huge, and that makes you terrifying. Here's Machiavelli's truth. Power is never about being right. It's about being sure. Certainty scares people. Certainty commands respect, even when it's wrong. Because in a world full of unknowns, people desperately want someone who knows. So when you speak, don't just suggest, make strong statements. Don't say, I think I can win. Say, it's already mine. Don't say, maybe I'm good enough. Say, I was built for this. The goal is to control not through facts, but through strong belief. And the best part? It spreads. This super belief is catchy. People start to believe what you believe simply because you seem so sure of it. Your story becomes their reality. That's why kings don't beg. That's why leaders don't ask. That's why Machiavelli said a leader must look determined even when he isn't. Because when you act like a lion, the sheep don't ask if you're pretending. They just get out of your way. Now here's where most people fail. They think this super belief is about pretending. No, it only works when you live it, when your every move matches the identity you've created. The super believer doesn't just talk, he builds. He trains like a warrior before the battle even exists. He walks into rooms like he's already conquered them. He signs his name like it belongs in history books. And people start to believe it. Why? Because they don't want to be the fool who doubted a legend in the making. They'd rather be on your side, even if you're wrong, than against you if there's any chance you're right. That's how this super belief wins wars. Not by proving itself, but by showing itself with such force that resistance crumbles before the first punch. And here's the final twist. This super belief creates a reality that others are forced to join. You pull them into your world. You set the rules. You decide what's possible. Because power doesn't care what's strictly true. It only cares who gets to decide what's true. So use it. Walk like you cannot fail. Speak like your words control what happens. Think like defeat has already been wiped from time. And remember, to most people, you'll look like a crazy person until one day you look like a visionary. Because you didn't wait for the world to agree with you. You made it obey. And that is the power of this super belief. How to build your unshakable belief. This powerful self-belief doesn't just appear like magic. It's like building a strong house, brick by brick, in quiet moments, with fierce determination, and by ignoring what the world tells you is sensible. You don't wait for it. You make it happen. If you're feeling weak right now, unsure or small, good. Because this super belief is strongest when it comes from nothing. That's what makes it scary. It shouldn't exist, and yet it does. So how do you build it? Let's uncover the steps behind this powerful way of thinking. Step 1. Get rid of permission. Most people never rise because they're always waiting. Waiting to be noticed. Waiting for someone to say they're good enough. Waiting for someone to say, yes, you can go big. But this super belief starts when you destroy that habit. You don't need permission. You never did. Machiavelli's leader doesn't ask for blessings. He takes the throne. He makes the right to rule. So must you. Burn the idea that you must deserve power. Act as if it's already yours. Your enemies will catch up later. Step 2. Speak like you're in charge. Your words are like building blocks. Every time you speak weakly, you're building your own prison. The super believer never says, I hope I can, maybe if things go well, or let's see what happens. No, he speaks like he's telling the future. This will happen. I'm unstoppable. It's already decided. People are trained to spot uncertainty in speech, but they are also trained to obey strong conviction. When you speak like your success is a sure thing, others start to go along with it, not because they believe in you, but because you believe in yourself so strongly that it leaves no room for their doubts. Step 3. Move like you're untouchable. Your body language tells the truth. Your movements either show your fear or make your legend grow. This super belief must be physical. Hold yourself like a general. Make eye contact like a king receiving gifts. Walk with the rhythm of someone who owns the ground he's on. This isn't faking it, it's training. You're teaching your body and mind to act like power is your natural state, and eventually it will be. Step 4. Ignore the doubts. The world will throw numbers, logic, and facts at you. It will show you why you'll fail, why you're not ready, why you should back down. That's when you light the match. This super belief isn't just a thought, it's a rebellion. You see the doubts, and you say, not important. You look at your bank account, your reputation, your past failures, and you respond, none of it matters, because your mind is already 5 years ahead. Already seeing the crown, already hearing the cheers. This step separates the fakers from the chosen. Most people pretend to believe. Few refuse to see any other outcome. That refusal, that deliberate blindness, that's where the real power is born. Step 5. Protect your story at all costs. Once you've built your super belief, you must guard it like a fortress. Doubt will come from others, from inside yourself. You will have days where your belief wavers, and reality tries to sneak back in. Kill it. Get rid of the doubting voice. Remove influences that bring you down. Silence the friend who means well but tells you to be realistic. You are not realistic. You are weaponized belief. And that story you built, if you protect it long enough, it becomes the truth. The world bends. People adjust. Reality changes. Not because you were right, but because you refuse to be wrong. That's how great things rise. That's how unknowns become forces to be reckoned with. Machiavelli said it best. It is better to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both. But there's something even greater than fear, something more exciting than love: belief. When people start to believe in you, not just because of who you are, but because of how sure you are, you win. And once your super belief is accepted by the crowd, it's no longer just a belief, it's destiny. Let's be honest, this kind of extreme self-belief can destroy you. It can ruin your money, crush your good name, burn every connection you spent years building. It can leave you alone, laughed at, misunderstood, like a madman shouting into nothing. You'll be called proud, crazy, wild. And maybe you are. But Machiavelli wouldn't flinch at this risk, because to him, power was never about playing it safe. It was about getting results. And here's the harsh truth: being too careful kills more dreams than failure ever could. Play it safe, and you might survive, but you'll never take over, you'll never lead, you'll never change the game. You'll be effective but unseen, productive but replaceable, respected but never feared. And the person who is never feared is someone who can be thrown away. You think this super belief is dangerous? Good, because so is being realistic in a world ruled by powerful people. Let's look at the real threat. Not big thinking, but limited thinking. The kind that says, stay humble, be patient, know your place. That's the thinking that keeps kings as commoners. It keeps ambitious people stuck in boring jobs. It turns potential gods into forgotten stories. Machiavelli would remind you, the world isn't fair. It doesn't automatically reward good people. It rewards those who force it to notice them. No one forces the world's attention more than the person who acts without fear of failure, the one who doesn't flinch when laughed at, who keeps building their legend even when others throw stones. He knows something others don't, that reality bends to belief, but only after it fights back first. Yes, there's danger in this super self-belief, but that danger is a signal. You're stepping outside the cage. People will warn you. They'll say you're going too far, you're not being realistic, you're risking too much. Of course you are. You're trying to rule, not just survive. You're trying to rewrite your future, not wait politely in line. And rewriting comes at a cost. But think about this. What is the cost of not believing in yourself beyond what makes sense? What happens when you don't push past what's possible? When you don't burn the script society handed you? When you don't become the myth? You become ordinary. And in the world of power, ordinary is death. Because no one protects the person who blends in. No one fears the person who just follows along. No one follows the person who doubts himself. They forget him, quickly, quietly, and forever. So yes, this super belief can go wrong. But if you use it smartly, with careful planning, never giving up, and with calm control, it becomes more dangerous to your enemies than to you. That's the Machiavellian way. Use the wildness, but never let it use you. Stay sharp, stay flexible, but never give up your big belief. Because sometimes the super believer does fail, but when he succeeds so completely, so amazingly, so undeniably, that it changes everyone's understanding of what's possible. And the same people who laughed at you in the beginning, they'll kneel in the end. Not because you were lucky, but because you never gave up, and because your belief didn't break under pressure. It crushed it. Machiavelli never feared failure. He feared being forgotten. He feared being ruled by smaller men simply because they were bold enough to believe in themselves louder than anyone else. So here's the final thought. Yes, this super belief can destroy you, but it can also make you famous like a god. And if you're willing to walk that fine line, if you're willing to risk everything, then what starts as a wild belief becomes your destiny. From strong belief to legend, your ultimate form, this super belief isn't the final goal, it's the spark. It gets you moving when the world says stop. It gives you the vision of a prophet and the will of a conqueror. But once this belief is built, once it has survived laughter, setbacks, and loneliness, you must do something even more important. You must turn your belief into a legend. Because believing in yourself is powerful, but believing in your legend, that's forever. Let the weak rely on motivation. Let the average person say positive words and hope for the best. You're past that now. You're not trying to feel good about yourself. You're trying to create a presence that changes every room you walk into. Machiavelli would call this reputation, but not in the way most people understand it. Not to be liked, not to be respected, but to be feared, to be untouchable, to be unstoppable. Your name must carry weight, even when you're not in the room, and especially when you're not there. So how do you become the legend? Let's break it down. Step 1. Live like you're already a legend. Every move, every word, every silence, treat it like the world is watching, even when no one is. Not because you're faking, but because you're training your reality to follow your own script. Legends don't practice being humble. They move with the confidence of someone who has already decided they are special. When you act like a legend, people stop seeing just a person. They only see a powerful force. Step 2. Turn your wins into stories. Your victories, no matter how small, must be made bigger. Never say, "I just got lucky," or "it wasn't a big deal." Get rid of that kind of talk. Instead, say, "I planned it. I made it happen. I warned them." Every win is a chapter in your legend. Every problem you overcome is now part of the story that you were meant to fulfill. People remember stories, not boring facts. So tell the story where you're always in control, always the mastermind, always many steps ahead. Let them be scared of how often you're right. Step 3. Guard your story with iron control. Now that your super belief has grown into a legend, it will be attacked. People will try to bring you down. They'll test you. They'll say, "Let's see what happens when he loses." Let them. But never, never show any cracks. Machiavelli taught that a leader must never show weakness, even if he's struggling behind the scenes. The legend is sacred. Once you show the world that you doubt yourself, it all falls apart. You are now playing a different game. You're not trying to win small fights. You're trying to become untouchable. And that means every moment is a performance, not for the crowd, but for the legend you're becoming. Step 4. Let others tell your story. The final stage of power isn't when you talk about how great you are. It's when others do it for you. Your legend must spread, like a virus. It should be whispered in private rooms, passed around like a prophecy. Feared, envied, copied, never ignored. When people say your name, with tension in their voice, when rivals change their plans because of what you might do, when admirers try to copy your stance, your quietness, your powerful energy, you've made it. Not because you're loud, but because your presence stays even after you're gone. And that presence, that's the ultimate form of this powerful self-belief. Not madness, not blind hope, but a made-up godlike status, where the person and the legend become one, and the world forgets which came first. Machiavelli's final word? He would have smiled at the wildness, applauded the boldness, and whispered what scared people are too afraid to admit. He who controls what people believe controls the world. This super self-belief isn't about self-help. It's about making yourself a king. It's the declaration, "I am not waiting for history to decide who I am. I will write it myself." And once you've written it long enough, once you've struggled, fought, and built, even the world must give in. Because it can laugh at a person, it can delay a king, it can criticize a visionary, but it cannot kill a legend. Let's follow the forbidden path of the person who believes in himself so strongly that reality has no choice but to give in. This isn't about confidence. It isn't about fake good feelings or motivation. It's about building a fire inside you so bright that the world burns before it questions you again. The world doesn't remember the careful ones. It remembers the wild one who said he'd won before the war began. The one who believed he was chosen long before anyone agreed. They laughed. They called him proud. But while they paused, he conquered. This super belief is more than wildness. It's a weapon. Speak with strong conviction and you silence logic. Move with certainty and people forget your flaws. Talk about the future and they mistake it for prophecy. That's the power. You change minds not with proof, but with pressure. You control rooms not with facts, but with force. But belief must be built. It starts in the shadows, when you stop needing permission, when you speak as if your words change everything, when you move like you're already a king. When you ignore the doubts and declare I've already won, you'll be tested. The world will push back. They'll remind you of your place, tell you to be realistic, warn you of the dangers. They're right. There is danger. You might fall. You might lose. You might be laughed at, kicked out, left alone. But the real danger is this: playing it safe, living unseen, dying forgotten. Because no one fears a person who doubts himself. No one follows a person who waits for proof. But they will follow a legend. That's the final stage of belief, when it stops being just inside you and becomes a rule for everyone else. You don't just believe anymore. You are the belief. Your name enters the room before you do. People talk about you in quiet whispers. They wonder what you'll do next, not because you've proven it, but because your presence feels like it's meant to be. Your reputation becomes like a prophecy. Your every move is a planned show. Your quietness is a weapon. Your very existence is a warning. You've crossed the line. No longer just human, now a legend. And once your super belief has lasted long enough, it's no longer just a belief. It's your destiny. This is your chance to rewrite your future. If you're ready to embrace the power of this super belief and become unstoppable, like this video and join our community of legendary minds. Hit subscribe and the notification bell to ensure you never miss the blueprint for your own destiny. Your legend starts now.